As a behavior consultant in school settings, more and more I get requests not just for services to address individuals with unique behavior needs, but to also look at class or school-wide systems for teachers and administrators to implement.
No. Monsters.
All too often, the learning of students, both academic and the social benefits, can be significantly impacted by the rules and contingencies or lack thereof that exist within the classroom. The following addresses general ABA approach to classroom or group management systems and strategies, as well as troubleshooting some of the most common concerns that I hear from teachers and administrators when providing supports in schools, all through the foundations of applied behavior analysis. Most class-wide management systems are identified as group contingencies. Per task list item E05, there are 3 different types of group contingencies as defined by the Behavior Analyst Board. The first, dependent contingency, or the HERO procedure, is when reinforcement for the entire group is dependent on one student's or a small group of students' behavior. That is, the entire class would gain access to rewards based upon the performance of one or a few. This strategy creates opportunity for one student or that small group to build positive rapport with their peers, typically if the likelihood that the criteria for earning reinforcement can be met. Of course, it can always work out against the favor of the individual identified, causing an adverse reaction from their peers, as well as creating opportunities for students who have not performed to criteria to gain access to their reinforcement. For those reasons, it's the least commonly used system and therefore won't be discussed further in this film. The interdependent contingency can sometimes be found in classrooms, often as a complement to independent or individual contingencies. This system allows for reinforcement to be gained if all members of the group meet criteria for reinforcement. Imagine everyone gets a pizza party if we can all finish our homework. You can see again concerns here if those students who meet criteria cannot gain access to rewards depending on the poor performance of the others. It can also single out students in a negative way, especially if the criteria is set too high for the lower performing learners. The most commonly used system is independent group contingencies, where reinforcement is provided to each member based upon that person meeting criteria. Those students who perform based upon the predetermined standards gain access to rewards, and those who do not, do not. This often takes more effort and attention to each of your learners, but it's most in alignment with evaluating individual progress and performance. Let's talk about some commonly heard concerns. Problem number 1. I've been doing this for the past few days and it's not working. Answer: the system likely hasn't been in place long enough to determine its effectiveness. I usually recommend at least 3 to 4 weeks of consistent implementation to decide if the system needs to be revised. Not only does it take time for students to learn and adjust to your new contingencies, but often there's a learning curve for the teacher or the implementer too. Be patient. Allow both the immediate and lasting effects to take place. Problem number 2. I have the reinforcement in place, but my kiddos just aren't earning. Answer: your criteria for reinforcement is too high. If the student can't contact reinforcement, it's likely that you aren't going to see much effort behind their responding. Something that appears frequently is the length of time before earning is too long to sustain appropriateness. For kindergartners or primary grades, a system where you earn on Friday probably won't be too motivating on Monday or Tuesday. Try to find natural opportunities in your schedule so that students can earn daily. Additionally, our goals can be too lofty based upon where we begin. If your student is currently only completing 50% of their classwork, then aiming for 100% right away may not be attainable. Start with smaller benchmarks, with those same big goals once we meet our incremental benchmarks. Problem number 3. My students just don't care about the consequences I have in place. Honestly, I hear this complaint mostly around the negative or punitive measures in place. In accordance with ABA principles, the more you contact aversive consequences, the less they reduce in potency.
Shamika, don't do that.
If you're using punishment, you will have to increase the magnitude of that punishment over time to keep it effective. When students are constantly getting phone calls home or sent to the principal's office, it's likely that those consequences never function to reduce behavior, or if they once did, they've lost their effectiveness now from overuse. Time to get creative. Focus on the positive things they can earn instead. Reinforcing consequences have a far more lasting effect, and they're easier to maintain over time. Find something motivating to increase positive behaviors. Interview your learners regularly. Novelty is key. Problem number 4. I'm a teacher. I can't afford to be buying candy and toys all the time. Answer: you're right. Until teachers are compensated in a way that matches their value to the success of our children, asking you to support buying things constantly for your classroom is unrealistic. But who said that reinforcers have to be stuff? The best consequences for positive behavior are those that match the function of the inappropriate behavior that you want them to replace. Here's an example. If you're reducing disruption for the attention of their peers, the reward for raising your hand should also produce the attention of your peers. Reinforcers can be creative and not tangible. Try using homework passes for kids that want to get out of work, eating lunch in a special area of the room, or with a special person. Maybe they'd like to perform or read aloud to their friends. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's not fun. There's a lot more ways to troubleshoot your plans, so reach out if you have any ideas for more videos or strategies that work best for you. Thanks for watching.